remember your routines. If you want to find success in different areas, maybe where you haven't found success before, you have to find a routine around it. Create a healthy routine, and that will help you find your success. Everything's routine.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Tadia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Tadia.
Welcome to another edition of Nationally Syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. We're coming at you with a brand new show. We appreciate whether you're listening on terrestrial radio across the country or as a podcast around the world. We certainly wouldn't be here without you. So stick around. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Tadia.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to talk about setting up routines. This is something that we talk about quite often, but I'm not sure if I talked about it recently. So I thought that it'd be a good idea to talk about routines to help people get going into proper routines for setting yourself up for success. So when it comes to routines, I think it's super important to get yourself into proper routines regardless of what it is that you're doing. And I feel like we do routines all the time and don't even know it. So for example, most people, they have an evening routine and that gets themselves prepared. It should be mentally and physically for bed in the evening. That may have something to do with going to wash your face, brushing your teeth, and heading to bed. Maybe you turn the lights on in the bedroom. These are usually things that we don't think about. So maybe you turn the lights on in the bedroom. Maybe you pull the bed sheet back, or maybe your bed isn't made from the night before, which we do suggest making your bed every morning. And I can talk about that as well when it comes to, I will be talking about that as well when it comes to setting up proper routines. But when I think it comes to routines, I feel like we don't consider the routines that set us up for success. So in many cases, we have a specific way that we go about starting the car, grabbing your things, you jump in your car, and you drive the same way to work each time. Well, that's a routine. And someone might say, well, that's the way I get to work. But you could probably take a couple different ways to work, like different streets or different avenues, or you can even park in a different place at work. I'm pretty sure most cases you don't have an assigned spot, but maybe it's like unspoken. Like people just expect that this is my parking spot. But you could park wherever you want, but you'll park in the same place. When you go to the grocery store, like depending on how big your grocery store is and how big the parking lot is, you'll probably park at least close to the same spot each time. But when it comes to work, for example, you go and you get yourself ready, you throw whatever you need in the car, whatever's in your backpack, that's routine. You're creating a routine of whatever you're packing in your backpack or your briefcase, whatever it is that you're taking to school or work, and for kids too. But you take that and you put it in the vehicle, and then you probably park the same way. Maybe some people back into their driveway, some people pulling forward. That's all routine. Then you drive to work the same way, and you park in the same spot, and then you walk in the same door. That's all routine, and I don't mean to make that sound like it's monotonous, and certainly not insignificant. It is, because I want to share with you that these are important because you can set up different routines. I think sometimes people are like, okay, I'm going to start working out. So they start working out one time. You work out one time and they didn't really love it. It didn't really feel normal. Naturally, you have to drag yourself to your workout area in your home, or you have to drag yourself to the gym, whatever it is, and it was out of routine for you. So it didn't feel comfortable. You didn't feel confident doing it. But the problem is you don't give yourself a chance to develop a routine. So when it comes to the routines, you set up those routines for success without thinking about it. So you go to the grocery store, in many cases, we suggest writing a list. So some people, like in our fitness family group, we provide a grocery shopping list for you. So you have exactly what you need before you get in there. You know what it's like going to the grocery store? And it's perfectly okay if that's just part of your exercise or maybe part of your routine, or you just like to cruise around the grocery store. But you're in a rush, or you don't really want to be there. Most people don't really enjoy going grocery shopping. So they have no idea what they're getting. They kind of wander around the grocery store. You probably find yourself in the junk food aisle. Or when they get to the checkout, like they put those magazines and junk food stuff there for a reason, and then you go and grab these things that aren't on your list because you don't have a list. But if you had a proper routine to go to the grocery store, then you would more easily be able to purchase the things that you want to, that's on your meal plan for that week. Something else that we provide, but everyone should make their own meal plan for the week if you don't have someone doing that for you. So you're setting your week up for success in advance. And I think in most cases, from our experience, we find people that don't follow their nutrition or kind of fall off with their nutrition, don't really get their proper workouts in that they're supposed to, or that they hope to, want to, or plan to. That's the issue at that planning point of it's not in a proper routine. So you just kind of go through the motions and hope it works out for the best. If you go to the grocery store hungry, that is definitely one of our not to do tips. Don't go to the grocery store hungry. I'm going to make a chart actually that says do's and don'ts. Do, make a meal plan. Do, make a grocery shopping list. I would actually even suggest trying to go to the grocery store when it's not a busy time. You know what I found? It's different at different grocery stores and in different towns. Like here in LA, at the grocery store at around 5 o'clock, it's a zoo because, well, most people get off work and then go to the grocery store because they don't have anything planned for dinner. So they go to the grocery store right after work. But it's interesting, I found in Olds, and we go to different places in Olds as well, but at Co-op, for example, what I found around 5, 6 o'clock, I think most people are eating dinner, so there's no one in the grocery store then. So at any rate, I think that's definitely a thing to do, is to go to the grocery store when there's not a ton of people in there, because you're not kind of waiting or shuffling around people, or it's all these things that we think we don't actually, it's all these things in our brain that we don't think about. Like, I don't want to wait in line, which is one of the reasons we don't want to go to the grocery store. Or there's no parking close to the door. Don't want to go to the grocery store. There's too many people in the produce aisle, for example. So these are all reasons that we don't want to go grocery shopping. So we have to find reasons to go grocery shopping. But that's all based around setting up your proper routine. So one of the, I rate the discount bin. I'm perfectly okay with saying that, with doing that. I think everyone should. The food's gonna go to waste, and when you eat healthier, a lot of people complain about the cost, only because they're used to buying low quality food that costs nothing. But so when you go and buy more produce, or you buy more quality products that cost more, everyone's like, my grocery bill is too expensive. Like, it's not expensive, it's normal. And it would have been normal if you were buying healthier food in the long run, but it will save you time in the future, because you won't be waiting in line at the pharmacy, because food is fuel. And we believe food heals, food cures, and food prevents. So not wanting to go to the grocery store or avoiding the grocery store, I kind of feel like is a real problem. So it's important to set these healthy routines around going to the grocery store so you can get your meal prep done, so you can set your week up for success for nutrition. I like to shop around at different grocery stores. I'm not loyal to one, if you will. Different stores seem to have better produce, better prices, better discount rack, whatever it is. And I like to, some stores have like 20% off Tuesdays, like the first Tuesday of the month. So that's important. It's important to understand that you can go to different, but some people have the routine of, I go to the same grocery store and maybe even at the same day of the week. Like, so for example, some discount racks are completely empty on certain days of the week, and some days they're filled up. So obviously, if I'm going to the discount rack, I would like to go to the on the days where it's full. So that's just a little tip for you guys when it comes to trying to save money, trying to get in proper routines, and that's just grocery shopping alone. I do want to talk about fitness as well. I'm a list person too. Like, I have to have a list. If I forget my list, I'm like all out of sorts. But it's so easy. Like, well, first of all, it's so easy to get distracted. So if you don't have your list and you know exactly where you're going and what you're doing, it's like a psychological thing. Their marketing departments have people that study actions when they see something, or where do you wander. Like, did you see at the airport, at the Calgary airport, for example, they more recently made it so you have to walk through their duty free. You have to walk through the duty free to get to your terminal, not your terminal or your plane. It's like a psychological thing. You see these right in front of you, like, oh, of course you'd be more willing to buy it if you don't have to go out of your way It's the same thing with the chocolates and the magazines. Like, they have a specific aisle. They have a magazine aisle. They also have a chocolate aisle. But if it's sitting there right in front of you at the till, you are going to be more inclined to purchase, especially if you're hangry. So just understand, like, it's a psychological thing. They're doing that for a reason. So if you don't go in there with a purpose, you're not going to, like, if you go in there with a purpose, it's going to be harder for you to get distracted. You have to have a grocery shopping list. And that's why we try to make, in our fitness family, it's our membership group, and we want to make life as easy as possible. Like, here's your list, here's your meal plan, here's your workout schedule. All you have to do is follow it. So we're making it much easier for people that are busy or don't know how to plan or don't want to plan. That's perfectly fine. If you're not going to do it, you should find someone that will do it for you. So I'm in an experimental stage. I'm experimenting with a couple different supplements, and I'm also experimenting with a couple different teas. So tea, so right now this is a green tea, a green sencha tea, and then I have a pu'er tea, which is a fermented tea, cross between a black tea and a green tea, and green sencha tea. So with that combination, cancer isn't really a thing that we discuss or talk about. It's not our thing, but I was doing some research, and there are 4 main serious issues that people deal with when it comes to dis-ease in your body. Of course, most of us know people that have or are dealing with cancer on some level, so we have to suppress those cancer cells, because I think that's the biggest one. It's about 40% of what most people deal with at some point in their life. Diabetes is one, like dementia, Alzheimer's is one. That's a smaller percentage. There's one more, heart disease, I think, is the other one. Those are the 4 main. Anyways, the pu'er tea and the green tea combined, there's some research that has shown to suppress cancer cells and certainly not allow them to grow. So that's of interest to me. Obviously, it should be of interest to everyone. MCT oil in here. MCT oil is like brain fuel. Most forms of energy, like carbohydrates, even fats, those are healthier ones. Like don't worry, we're carbohydrate people, but clean, complex carbs. But your liver, I'm not an expert in this, but your liver has to change the fats. Not the fats, the carbohydrates, which most people use as fuel. Your liver has to change that into ketones, and ketones into energy. So the MCT oil, and there's different strands of MCT oil. MCT oil is extracted from coconut oil. So coconut oil is 100% clean. We use it all the time. But there's different strands, if you will, of MCT oil, and that MCT just stands for medium chain triglycerides. So let me tell me if I'm getting into this too much, but there's different strands. So there's C6, C8, C10, and C12. So this is C8, which is the best for your body to absorb. Anyways, it's for it doesn't have to filter. It goes straight into energy. It helps with mental clarity. It helps with brain health. So that's in here as well. Long story short. And then I'm also experimenting with a couple other things, but that's the tea. Oh, and then there's actually grass-fed butter in there. And I'm not really a butter fan, but I'm experimenting a bit with the grass-fed. And then that's a saturated fat, which in most cases you stay away from. But you can have some saturated fats. Your body should have some. You want to stay away from trans fats for sure, 100%. And then hydrogenated oils, but that's a different subject. Many times the stuff, like you go to the cosmetic stuff, like we're not cosmetic, like we don't go to the detergent aisle. Like it gives me a really bad headache, to be honest with you, when I walk down that aisle. I feel like the healthier I get, the more resistant I am to that stuff. So years ago, when I'd walk by that aisle, I would get like a really bad headache. and then I'd get like all nasally, like almost instantly. And I'm getting better. I feel like my body's getting better at defending that. But I still avoid those aisles. We don't even buy that stuff. We order that stuff from Young Living, and it comes to our door. No thanks. I'm not going through that aisle and picking through and trying to read all the ingredients and trying to find a clean one. It's almost impossible to find at a grocery store. So stay away from those aisles. And of course, you go down the candy aisle, and like, why would you go down there? I see it all the time. People just like have their cart and they're cruising down the candy aisle, and they're like, oh, how'd that get in my cart? Don't get me wrong. If you want to grab that stuff, go ahead and grab that stuff. But that's that's definitely places that we avoid. When it comes, like, we teach people how to read ingredients and what you should look for when it comes to ingredients, and we can talk about that as well. I meant to talk about routines, but when it comes to reading ingredients, you have to read ingredients because they put, like, big companies. I posted a thing about Kellogg's. I don't think they're going to hear me. I don't have that many viewers. But I posted something about Kellogg's cornflakes on my page last night. So you should go and do some research and figure out and see why Dr. Kellogg was initially wanted to create his cereal. It's a bit disturbing. I think, anyways, in my opinion. But those big companies that have a lot of money, they pay to put their products at eye vision for most people, like the middle ones. Those are the most expensive areas in the grocery store. And I don't think people realize that. They're just like, oh, that's front and center. It must be a good one. Or they paid to put more there. Like when we're in the health food stores, they'd have like big companies like Vega, and they would have like 100 units on a shelf. They take up a whole entire shelf. I didn't realize that they gave the store kickbacks. They gave them free t-shirts. They gave them gift certificates. They took them out for dinner. So they would order as minimal as possible of our products, like small company, no one knows who we are. As minimal as possible. They take ours and put it in the bottom corner, and no one would see it. And of course, no one's gonna buy it. And they're like, well, why is there only 4 of those? And there's 50 of these. These must be a bestseller. I'm gonna grab one of those. So people don't read the ingredients, and they don't realize that companies pay more to be right front and center. They're just like, oh, it must be a good one. So sometimes you have to look around to find cleaner products. And of course, you have to read the ingredients. That's a big one. So what happens is, before we recommend something, we experiment on our own body. So there's a few different supplements I'm experimenting with right now. I do a bunch of research, then I try it, then I'm like, Dorothy, guess what you're doing? So then if we see results from us, we'll start talking about it, and then we'll start not so much teaching, but just offering that as offering that as a suggestion to how we found some success and how other people have found success as well. So I wouldn't say I'm a trailblazer in that regard of I'll do something that no one's ever done. In most cases, I'll do a bunch of research and I'll find success stories of how people have done things. So for example, like the MCT oil is like really good for your brain. And I'm like, that's something I'm very conscious of because I need my brain. Like we need our brains, and I work really hard and really fast, and I got windows open, and I got Nick, he's our assistant, and he's messaging me, and we got orders going out, and I feel like my brain is really important to be able to keep running a business. And I would say, like, I live like a high impact life of like so many things going on, which many of us do, but I really want my brain to be there with me for the long run. So that's why I'm like, so I'm researching like what can improve your brain health. And I think that people don't really understand that you can reverse aging. Like you can have cleaner cells, you can have stronger muscles, you can actually build the cartilage. Like a lot of people have knee issues. Well, did you know you can actually build the cartilage in your ligaments and joints? That's not mainstream news because it's not like a great like a sexy subject. Like it's not going to hit the news. They're not going to be like, oh, cartilage growth. Like you have to go and find that research. So it's always interesting to me to learn these different things, find different success stories, and then experiment on ourselves to see if we are able to see results. And if we don't see results, which does happen, then it's not something that we're going to be like, hey, try this. Didn't work for us. Might work for you. But it's so true. Like when you go and buy those like cleaner products, like we researched Young Living for years before Dorothy started off with one oil, and then we looked at a couple other oils, and then we looked at cleaning products, and now we use like the toothpaste. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to spend more money on that company, let's say, for example, but we don't realize like, well, you're spending that money in other ways. Like you don't look at your budget and say, oh, my grocery store budget also includes my detergent that's causing toxins in the clothes that I'm wearing all day long. So you think it's coming from two different places, but it's really the same place. So you could spend your money on clean products in one area or spread it out in different areas. But then in most cases, that's why we jumped on Young Living, to be honest with you. I'm not like a huge promoter. That's Dorothy's gig. But like we do believe in the company and the products. But I really dislike going to the store, and like you go to like 4 different stores, you read all the ingredients in each one of them, and then you come home with 2 products that you think are clean, but it's really hard to find. So you have to keep looking around, and you have to keep searching, and then sometimes the store doesn't carry that product anymore, so you got to find somewhere else to get it. So in this case, we can get everything in one place, and it makes life so much easier. So let me just wrap things up here when it comes back to routines and understanding that if we create healthy routines, at the beginning of the show I was trying to explain is that we have routines in pretty much everything that we do. Like we're creatures of habit. So you sit at the same table at the breakfast table. In most cases, you sit in the same chair. You can sit wherever you want, but in most cases, you go to the same place. And then you sleep on the same side of the bed. Like you could switch it up one night, go to the other side of the bed. You have to check with your spouse, maybe. You should do that. Actually, that'd be hilarious. I'd love to hear how that goes. If you have a spouse and you crawl into like the different side of the bed. The opposite side of the bed. I think your spouse would be like, what are you doing? Because your spouse, as a human, is also a creature of habit. So they might be like all flustered, or maybe you don't sleep very well, but that is setting your evening up for success by, like, maybe for example, like I put a diffuser on in the evening right beside my bed. It usually has RC in it, for example. And I like to I make my bed first thing I do when I get up, make the bed. But before I go to bed, I pull the corner over so it looks more inviting. But these are all mentally prepping myself to get a good night's sleep. But you're prepping yourself. You're going through these habits to get yourself ready for sleep, which is setting yourself up for success for sleep. Same thing at the breakfast table. I talked about driving to work. It's all the same. You have these habits all the time. So if you want to set yourself up for success in other areas, so most people can make it to work and hopefully on time for your boss's sake. Doesn't bother me, whatever time you get in there, but you successfully get yourself ready and you drive to work and you get there on time in most cases. And there's other areas of our life. We can get to the table to eat dinner. We can get to our beds to get to sleep. Like in most cases, there's always routines. And when there isn't routines, like when you're flustered and you have all kinds of stuff going on, maybe you have a project, like a work project, or the kids have a school project you're helping out with, and then you try to completely out of routine, and then you try to go to sleep like instantly, and then you wonder why you can't sleep properly. It's because you were completely out of routine and your body wasn't properly set up for that sleep. So when it comes to healthier habits, like going to the grocery store, for example, we talked about creating a list and understanding what time to go, maybe what day to go, and try to do this every week. Every time you go, that's setting a proper routine so you can get more prepared for, you can set yourself up for success when it comes to grocery shopping, which a lot of people really dislike. And then when it comes to working out, you do the same thing. So we say put your mat out the night before. Know exactly what you're doing for your workout. How long is your workout? You know you're going to one specific area for your workout. You have your workout set up for you, like you know what workout you're doing before. This is all like a routine, but it's setting yourself up for success. So it's important to create those healthy routines around other areas of your life, especially when you don't feel like you have that success. So a lot of people struggle from working out from home, for example. Well, you know what used to happen is you packed your gym bag, you put your shoes in there, you put your clothes in there, you grabbed your water bottle, you picked up your keys, you walk to your car, then you drive to the gym the same way every time. Then you park in the same place. Then you go to the gym and you probably use the same locker or at least close to that same area because we're creatures of habit. The problem now is that everyone has that routine or had that routine, and then it was like that routine was completely wiped away. The gyms are closed, or the gyms are closed. You don't have that supportive community. You're not packing your gym bag. You're not driving. You're not going. All that routine was disappeared almost overnight for a lot of people. So what we have to do now to find success from working out at home is to create a routine. And it starts in the evening when why should I set up my mat the night before? Because it's one less thing you have to think about, and it gets yourself into a routine. Like, I'm working out at home. Why do I need workout clothes? Because it gets you into a routine. You need to get yourself mentally prepped, just like we do for sleep. Mentally prepped. Maybe you're writing your grocery list before you go to the grocery store. All that sets yourself up for success. So you put your clothes out the night before. In the morning, you get into your workout clothes. Even if you don't, I think the problem is now is people are like, there's no mirrors. Most people aren't doing selfies. No one's going to see you in your brand new clothes. So we're completely out of the routine. And it's like, what's the point of putting my workout shoes on? I'm going to work out inside. Because that mentally preps you and puts your body in a different state of mind of, I'm going to work out. And then I don't need water next to my mat. I'll just go to the sink and grab a glass of water when I need one. Well, that isn't prepping yourself properly to get yourself into a routine to find that success when it comes to working out. Woo! I felt like that was a lot of information there for you. In our fitness family, Dorothy does a live cooking workshop every Monday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's important because we want to set up routines for our members. I go do a live workout Tuesday and Thursday mornings at, what time is that? 6:30 Mountain Time? That's 5:30 Pacific Time, which is where I'm at. So 5:30 a.m. for me, I'm up, getting ready, working out with an awesome group of people. So that offers accountability. That's why when we don't have people showing up, we're like, hey guys, where are you? Are you showing up? That's to offer accountability. That's to offer a positive support. It's not like we're angry at you for not showing up. It's to offer the accountability of like, hey guys, we expect you to be there because we want you to see a success. And then every Sunday morning, we do another live to prep our fitness family for the week. Prep nutrition, prep food, mentally prep. So we try to do those. Of course, sometimes life gets in the way, but we're very consistent for a reason, because we want to have people find success. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a wonderful day. Remember your routines. If you want to find success in different areas, maybe where you haven't found success before, you have to find a routine around it. Create a healthy routine, and that will help you find your success. Everything's routine. Got to do routines, even if you don't want to.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. You can always find us on Facebook.com/TrueFormLife. We post up there a couple times a day on our story. We're always trying to bring you more content around living a healthy lifestyle, whether that be nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. We also have free challenges that we do at least once a month. So if you follow us along there, you'll be able to join maybe a plank challenge or a squat challenge, Tabata challenge, whatever it may be. We'd love to have you join us. We're also on Instagram.com/DrewTadia. Again, we're posting up there a couple times a day along with our story, all dedicated to keeping you fit and healthy and on track. Our main website is TrueFormLife.com. If you want to check out some of our products, some of our services, or if you just want some great content from videos to blog posts and recipes and more, we got all that at TrueFormLife.com. Once again, thank you so much much for being here. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Tadia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Tadia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.